I feel like I'm in the space shuttle.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's live session, The Path to Texas Dental Schools. My name is Ellie Kim. I'm an application specialist here at TMDSES. We are so excited to have you join us as we walk through some of the most common and important questions that applicants have when preparing for a dental school in Texas. Today, we are joined by an incredible panel of deans from our Texas dental schools. These are the leaders and decision makers who review your applications. So this is a unique opportunity to hear directly from them about what they are looking for in future dental students. Would you all please introduce yourself, please?
Sure. I am Dr. Kelly Lemke, and I'm the Dean of Admissions at UT Health San Antonio School of Dentistry.
Hi, I'm Alicia Spence. I'm the Director of Recruitment and Admissions at Texas A&M College of Dentistry.
And I'm Dr. Ralph Cooley. I'm the Assistant Dean for Admissions and Student Services at UT Health Houston School of Dentistry.
Thank you all for joining us. It's a real privilege to have your insights today. So let's jump into our first set of questions, starting with letters of evaluation. So do you weight HPAC's individual letters or evaluation form differently? Do you have a preferred type of letter?
I'll start. Well, we don't have control over what we get from the applicant. So if we get individual letters, that's what we evaluate. Having said that, if the applicant has the option to get the health professions committee letter, we really appreciate that because we know that that team or that person knows the applicants usually pretty well, and they have more of like a global view of the applicants. So those are very helpful to my committee.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree with that 100%. We love the HPAC when we look at that. However, if individual letters, you don't get penalized for that, evaluation forms. And for our school, too, and I think this is true, I'm not sure for all the other three, but we require one of those letters to be from a dentist. And so I encourage everybody, you know, if you know that if the dentist knows you really well, that's great. But if he or she does not know you really well, don't be shy, reach out, even have a Zoom call with them and tell them your story. And so they can write a very good letter of recommendation for you.
I also agree. We do understand that there may be non-traditional applicants who don't have the opportunity to get a letter from HPAC or something like that, but we do look at those individual letters. And I would agree with what they said about getting letters from a dentist. We do look at that as well. And so we want our applicants to know someone really well. And I think shadowing for a good amount of time with a dentist will help build that relationship so that they can write a really good recommendation letter for that applicant.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for those insights. Great. The next question is, what specific qualities or information would you like to see in my letters of evaluation?
Well, we love to see insight into the person's character and habits and the way they conduct themselves. And so that is so much more helpful than the letter that we get where basically the letter writer just says, you know, the person got an A in the class, and then everything else is kind of just listing things from that person's resume, which, you know, usually people do when they ask somebody to write a letter, they're going to provide them with their resume or their CV. But it's so much more helpful when the letter provides insights past the grade that person earned, because if that's all we're getting, well, we already have that information.
Yeah.
So we're looking to learn more about the person.
Yeah, I agree, and I want to know on that, and I tell candidates too to share that information. The person writing the letter, we want to know if they're shadowing in office, did they show up on time? How did they relate to the staff? Very rarely, but sometimes we'll get a letter that says, they were not responsible, or they did not treat people with respect. We want to know how they treated. If they're coming from their academic setting, I want to know how well did you work with your classmates, because we want someone that is going to be a good colleague, good teammate, and has a teachable attitude, teachable spirit, and so that's what we look for on that. I could care less to tell me that they finished third in the class, as Dr. Lemke said. We can get all that information statistically. I want to know what kind of person it is. So.
I agree completely. We're looking for professionalism. Did they commit to the class or to shadowing? Were they on time? Exactly what Dr. Cooley said about how they interact with patients and the staff. Definitely, I agree.
So I'm going to throw something else in there, because somebody asked me, a friend of mine who writes a lot of letters, asked, can I just start writing these and use a Snap GPT and put their stuff into it? Seriously. I said, you can do that, but that's not going to be a very strong letter, because I think we're all kind of wise enough to kind of see that that's who wrote that. And it wasn't a doctor, it was AI instead, right? So that's why it's important to have that contact, and to ask, if a person's writing that for you, ask them, I want you to know everything about me so you can write me a very personal, strong letter of recommendation. So.
Awesome. Thank you. So if you haven't gotten your letters yet, now is a great time to meet your evaluators and talk about what they can highlight in their letters. All right, let's move on to our coursework and academic preparation. The next question, will science courses, including organic chemistry, be accepted if taken at community colleges?
Should we
Go ahead.
I was going to say, should we let Dr. Spence go first?
Yes, please.
Sure, thank you. We do have applicants who take some of their courses at community colleges. We understand that for financial reasons, we may have an applicant who has taken some of their classes, at those first 2 years and then transferred to a 4-year university. I will say that taking some of the upper division science courses at a 4-year college will probably lead to a stronger science background. And so we do like to see that the student has taken science courses at their university, taken multiple courses at the same time, done well. That shows a good, solid science foundation, which is what they're going to have in that first year of dental school. We can't always control where students take their classes. And like I said, for financial reasons, there may be a reason why a student has taken some of their classes at other places. But I think for the most part, we do like to see, especially the upper division, taken at their 4-year university.
Yeah. I might add to that, in San Antonio, same exact viewpoint. The only thing I would add is that I find a lot of times applicants focus on questions like this, like very specific, like, can I do this? And is it okay if I do that? And sometimes they forget that when we, like admissions committees, are looking at that application, at least academically, we're looking for a record of academic success, and that could be academic growth in a person, or just good performance over time, or improving performance over time. And so it's not so much like, is this allowed or is this not allowed, but how does that look in their broader academic performance history. And so just like Dr. Spence said, this is okay as long as it's backed up by really good performance in harder courses, upper level courses.
And I would agree with everything my two colleagues said. It's just a matter of a strength of the application, but it doesn't mean that, okay, no, we're putting this aside, because there are circumstances. I think sometimes it comes to, you got to choose, if you're taking some courses at community college, which ones to take. So, ones that aren't prereqs are good. And if it is a prereq, I hate to pick on one course, so I'll get in trouble. I better not say. Okay. It starts with a P, though it ends with an S. So you can kind of figure it out. So, okay.
Thank you. That's great to know for applicants planning their coursework. And the next question is specifically for applicants who are applying for Texas A&M College of Dentistry. The website mentions that reapplicants must be enrolled in courses to be more competitive. So Dr. Spence, could you clarify what this means, please?
Yes, I get this question a lot. We do like to see that students are still students, that they are still working toward that really solid foundation before they come to dental school. If someone is reapplying, there's probably room for some sort of improvement in their application. A lot of the time that means taking more of those recommended courses, building that GPA before they start dental school. Really, it's to help students keep up those study skills and make them more competitive when they are reapplying. But I have gotten this question a lot because I think students think, I've already taken all of this. Why do I have to keep in coursework? It's really good to keep up those study skills, and it helps them to have a stronger application if they are still taking some of those recommended science courses.
Great. Appreciate you going into detail on that. All right, moving along, let's talk about activities and how to best present your experiences. The next question is, what types of activities or experiences would strengthen my application?
I'll start, I guess. Everything. So I think I'll just speak for me, but we many times see it similar. Community service is really big for us. I know you everybody gets that from their health profession advisor, but community service and being really involved with something that's near and dear to your heart is what we like to see, instead of 20 different activities that you did for 3 hours each and handed out a flyer or a banner. Something it doesn't have to be dental related. It could be, but it could be something with kiddos or faith-based, or something with the YMCA, or something with the community. Whatever grabs your heart, where you're really giving of yourself to others, that's important for us. And also leadership experiences in that. So if you're involved, you don't have to be the secretary or the president, but if you're involved with anything at the community service, for example, faith-based, if you're teaching a group of second graders and you're the one responsible for that, I think that's great. I mean, that's leadership. So leadership where you take responsibility, and community service are two big things, but really everybody has their own path. Just be excellent in what you do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'd just add, anything involving other people. Like Dr. Cooley said, every application is different. People have different passions, but we always like to see activities involve other people, because when we initially look at the application, we haven't met the person necessarily. We just have that to go off of. And when we see a lot of activities where the person's, in a club or some kind of organization, or mentoring, tutoring, volunteering, and they're actually interacting with other people, that's a good indicator that that person might have good people skills, which is definitely going to help them in this field.
All right, that's really helpful.
Can I say one other thing too? And I think we're all in agreement here. we talk about community service and leadership, but obviously the make or break for us is dental experience.
Yeah.
So, you know, we've
Very.
all seen applications where people had 400 hours of community service and very little dental experience. And they're like, hey, I'm going to strengthen my application by doing more community service. No, focus. You have to have a nice blend, but dental experience, you got to have that. That's make or break. You got to know what you're getting into if you're applying to the schools here. So.
Right, Dr. Spence, is there anything else you would like to add?
I totally agree with my colleagues. We're looking for those same things as well.
All right, thank you all so much. The next question is one we hear every cycle. If I accidentally list my activities under the wrong categories, will my application be disqualified?
Mm-mm. No. I mean,
Or is there any other scenarios like their application would be tossed out?
I mean, occasionally, really occasionally, very occasionally, I've seen applications where the level of sloppiness and carelessness on the part of the applicant throughout the whole application is high. And I mean, that's one thing, but just miscategorizing something, you know, we can deal with that. So, and I'd rather see somebody just put something down on the application and let us figure it out than to not put it down, because I'm not a mind reader and I won't know otherwise.
Right.
You know, that TMDSES has a really good application guide, though, that kind of guides people on where to put things. So,
yeah, everybody's experienced enough. We can connect the dots. I mean, yeah, that's not an issue, and we won't talk about you either at the meetings if you do it. So, okay.
All right, thank you for clearing that up. All right, let's move on to our next question. What kind of activities can be listed in the manual dexterity section? Can you provide some examples? We had one call last cycle, and then the person asked, I actually love video games. Can I put video gaming if I logged like 200 hours?
So I think we look for a variety of activities. If someone's into crochet or calligraphy or anything that uses those fine motor skills, it can be a whole array of things. As far as the video game question, I think it's fine to have some of that, and there is some hand-eye coordination there. But when a student has hundreds of hours of video game time and very little community service and very little shadowing, that's when I think it would become a negative.
Yeah, I agree with that. So I think you put anything in there. I agree. The bottom line is, I'll just throw my feelings on this. Regardless of what you've done, manual dexterity, I think it's great. You played the violin since you were, 2 years old or something. I think that's fine and that's great, and develop those skills. The reality is we're going to teach you how to do dental skills using your hands, because it's completely different. It is like microsurgery, and everybody has to improve and get better. Nobody comes in, hey, I've got great manual dexterity, I can just just go through this with no problems. Everybody has to learn it. So.
All right, Dr. Lemke, is there anything else you would like to
add? I really don't have anything to add to that assessment. I mean, I strongly agree. And we see all kinds of things listed here, from crafts, woodworking, fixing cars, cutting hair, all kinds of things.
What's the most unusual thing, Dr. Lemke, that you've seen?
Ooh. I don't know. I mean, maybe the gaming. I'm not a gamer myself, so it's hard for me to connect the dots on that. Whereas I am a cook, and I do know how to knit, and I know how to sew, and I know how to embroider, and all those other things. I do find it interesting that a lot of females list nail art as one of their manual dexterity items. So that's pretty common.
Yeah.
So Dr. Cooley, what's the most interesting thing you've noticed since you asked me?
Someone that was doing electrical work and wiring. I think that was, I thought that was interesting. I'm not saying that's wrong. I think that's fine to put that in there. I have a grandson at my house that is a kind of a gamer, so I see all the stuff that goes on, with this, and it's pretty amazing. So, yeah.
I was interested to see the person who could pick locks.
Ah,
Competitively.
Yes.
wow.
Yes.
We'd have to put some parameters on that person as a student, I think. So. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you so much for those great examples. All right, our next question. How should I categorize activities as dental experiences versus healthcare experiences? And is it acceptable to leave the healthcare experience section blank if I don't have any?
I think that's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that there are people that kind of divide their experiences, like they'll put all of their shadowing under healthcare experiences, but all the time they spent as a dental assistant in the dental experience section. And then when we look at the application, those sections are kind of, show up on different pages. So for us, it's helpful if everything dental related is in the dental experience section so that we can, look at that section all at once and get a better, more global view of the person's dental experience as opposed to trying to combine that from different sections. But, as in anything, it's better just to get it down than not to list it. But it's very helpful if they put everything dental in one section.
Yeah. So can I put Dr. Lemke on the spot here for just a second? Because this is where we're thinking out loud, because I don't have the answer to this. So TMOBs, Texas Mission of Mercy Projects, if you go and you just volunteer, you're a runner, as opposed to being a dental assistant at the chair. To me, dental assistant at the chair is probably dental experience. If you're a runner, you're a volunteer.
Volunteering. Yeah.
I think you could do either one. I don't know whether you like to see healthcare experience or dental experience, and Dr. Smith, same way. I mean, we kind of look at it. That's the gray area for us.
Yeah. And we know we read and we interpret, what's actual hands-on experience,
Right.
What's real shadowing,
right,
versus just being there.
Yeah.
I have seen a lot of students put mission work under healthcare experience because I think a lot of times they go on these mission trips and they're not necessarily doing hands-on, but they're helping with a lot of other things.
Right.
And that's valuable experience. So I've seen them sort of divide it that way, but I don't think we would penalize someone for putting it in one versus the other. But we do like to have some clarity as to what they did during those experiences.
So it's important to explain in the description what exactly you did at those areas. I think that's the key on something that they might think is a little gray to me. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you for explaining that. All right, now let's explore some broader insights for different types of applicants. Our next question, what are the most important components of a successful dental school application?
It's a broad question. I can start. I would say a proven record of academic success, a DAT score that aligns with the rest of the academic record. Next, I would put exposure to the profession of dentistry that needs to have both breadth and depth, meaning not just, I went in there and clocked X number of hours at one office and that's it, because that might not be really broad exposure. And then after that, we start looking, I would say definitely a good record of volunteering and community service after that. And then the next thing I would look for is leadership potential, and that can come in many manners. And after that, we're just looking for other components of well-roundedness, such as being, a member of different organizations, active in your campus or community, wherever you are. I probably left something out.
I think you covered it well. I mean, it's I started to put the answer as all.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but in reality, I think Dr. Lemke laid it out right. I mean, you have to be competitive academically to be able to handle the rigors of dental school. So that's first and foremost, but that's just where it starts, and that's where it begins. And then everything after that, the pieces of the puzzle come in. And we already said dental experience was a make or break. After that, it's what, who you are, what you've done. It's all important. There's not one formula, because every person is different. Every dental student that comes in has a different journey and a different background, but they all have to be academically strong enough to handle 4 years of dental school. And dental school is not easy, as we all know. And so that's huge, but that's just the starting point. So.
I would agree with both of them. We're doing a full file review. We're looking at everything that this applicant has done in undergrad, all of these important areas, community service, dental experience. I will say we are also taking into consideration other life events. Some applicants will have experience with working during college. Some of them will be taking care of family members while they're going to school. Some of them are on athletic scholarships. So there are these individual cases where we are weighing how they were able to succeed academically, but also have these other responsibilities that they are juggling. And so we really look at them individually, but sort of looking at this whole picture of how they were able to be successful in undergrad.
One other piece of the puzzle, we all do this because we talk to reapplicants, and I just got off the phone before I came on here with someone that lost 3 close family members in the last year, mother, brother, etc. So how people handle adversity is important. I'm not saying go out and look for adversity so you can handle it well. Don't do that. But everybody has their own challenges in life, and so that's how we look to see how you've done that. And we get that from many times in the essays, and we look for people that have gotten stronger and matured and are perseverant. Perseverance is a huge quality that you need to be successful in dental school. So,
Thank you all so much. Let's move on to our next question. How do you review applications from reapplicants, and what factors would make their applications stronger?
you want me to start?
Yes, please.
So I'm going to answer this question the way my son told me to answer any question that I had that I was stumped. And he said, you can use 2 words. It depends. And that's the way I would depend. And that's for all of us. So when we get an application from a reapplicant, the factors that make their application stronger depends on each applicant and what is the area that they need to strengthen the application. For some, it's GPA. And we talk about a master's program or taking other courses. Some it's retake the DAT. Some it's more dental experience. Some it's more, it just depends. So we all, well, I don't want to speak very many. We encourage people to take a strong look at their application and meet with their health profession advisor if they still can, and just get some candid feedback what they need to do to make themselves stronger. I mean, we're glad to do that too, but again, every person's different depending on what their application looks like.
To that, I would add that, when I meet with reapplicants, sometimes I feel like they already know where their application is weak.
Yeah.
Because we ask them, before, I'm not going to meet with you before you do analysis of your own application and where you think, what are your strengths, and and what are your weaknesses, and what are your opportunities to improve, like what is your capability to improve it, involving time, finances, etc. And a lot of times they actually already kind of know. So
All right, you all kind of touched on this.
So
Yes,
uh, can I add one other thing to that? Can I go back?
absolutely.
Here's what I would say is on a reapplicant is, either meet with their health profession advisor or, one of us, if it works out. Do not, and we all get this, I get people that they'll go talk to somebody, and I'm an old dentist, so I can make this without getting, I'm throwing arrows at myself. Don't go to somebody that it doesn't understand this application process. Don't go to the dentist. They may be great, but they've been out 30 years. Don't go to them and tell them, how can I make my application stronger? They may know, but they may not know. Sometimes they don't get advice. Get advice from the people that are actually in the arena playing this profession. So to get good advice, that's what I would say.
Thank you so much. Would it be pretty much the same for non-traditional applicants as well?
I would say we're sort of looking for the same things in these applications. I will say that with a non-traditional applicant, so maybe someone who has had another career and they've decided they want to come to dental school, showing us why, why do you want to become part of this profession, and what can you add to your dental school class and the field of dentistry. But I think in the application itself, we are sort of looking for the same experiences, shadowing, leadership, all of the same things. If it's someone who's had some exceptional experience in another arena, we want to hear about that, and that can be a great thing to talk about in their essay. But really, I think we're sort of looking for the same things from our applicants.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree. And we like non-traditional applicants. They don't get this big boost up, but they're viewed in the same light. And we like, because a lot of times they bring a sense of maturity and experience, and it's a nice blend to the class. So, yeah.
All right. Right before we close today's session, let's ask one final question. Do you have any final advice for applicants?
Apply early.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's right.
For sure.
Yeah. And I would say, I've said it before, don't compare yourself to others. Be the best you can be, and get a lot of advice from your health profession advisor or somebody else on this application, because you're not going to fill it out in one weekend. So get advice, believe in yourself, don't compare. You just be the best person you can be. And as Dr. Spence said, get it in early. So.
The only thing I'd add to that is that, sometimes people hesitate. Should I apply? Should I wait a year? And, and there might be legitimate reasons to wait a year, but if you're kind of on the fence, it never hurts to just go ahead and apply. That person might end up having to reapply, but at least then they're in the mindset of improving. And we won't know that that person is interested and committed to this field unless they submit that application. And so my piece of advice would be just go ahead and apply.
Yeah. Agreed.
All right. Wonderful way to wrap things up. Thank you so much all. So, all right, so that's everything we got for today. So thank you so much for sharing your time and the expertise with us today. This has been incredibly insightful session for sure. And also thank you to everyone who joined us live today. If you have any more questions, please reach out to us anytime. We are here to help you every step of the way. And our next live session applying to Rennery School in Texas is scheduled on April 17th at 1 p.m. Central Time. So be sure to tune in, and y'all have a great rest of your day. Bye, y'all.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.